Hello, everyone, and welcome to Travel Talk Tuesdays with me, Robert, your favorite travel advisor. And today I'm here to talk to you about the MSC Meraviglia. The scene behind me is the promenade of the MSC Meraviglia. And we had the great pleasure last week of sailing on board. And it's just a phenomenal ship, and I just want to tell you all about it. So to give you, first off, some stats here. Sorry if my eyes keep looking away. As always, I've got some notes because I don't want to miss out on giving you any of the pertinent information. So the ship itself is 1,036 feet long. She has on board, or she can hold 5,600 passengers on board and has a crew of around 1,600. There are 2,214 staterooms for you to choose from when you are sailing on board. So when we were sailing last week, something great, like I said, the ship can hold almost 5,600, a little over 5,600 passengers. And there were only about 780 of us on board. So when it came to the staff to guest ratio, we pretty much had 2 crew members for every passenger on board. So the service was just top notch. I have to tell you, every time we walked down a hallway, it was, people talking to us. Hello, how are you? Welcome aboard. What can we do for you? So it was just amazing service, which is really, MSC in general. We've sailed MSC before. We actually, right before the world shut down in 2020, we sailed aboard the MSC Divina. And that's another beautiful ship that MSC has. So if you've never heard of MSC, MSC is the Mediterranean Shipping Company. And they've been around for a long time. They're really big in the container world. They have amazing cargo ships and, a container company, and they're a privately held entity out of Italy. So they do a lot of their business over there in the Mediterranean. And they have a fleet of cruise lines of 15 plus ships in their fleet, and they're starting to branch into the US market over here. And one of the things is they keep their prices very competitive and on the low end of the competitive scale to really get passengers on board, which I think is great, for the level of service that you receive aboard an MSC ship and the price point in which you're paying to get on board an MSC ship. I think there's just a lot of room there for them to grow and really grow their fleet, grow their passenger clientele, and things like that. So the scene behind me is the what would be the promenade on most ships, and this is, like I said, on board the MSC Meraviglia. So if you look over my shoulder right there, you see there's a restaurant called the Butcher's Cut, and that is a phenomenal restaurant. While we were on board, we did the dining package. So they have 2 dining packages to choose from. You can choose a 3-restaurant dining package or a 4-restaurant dining package. We chose the 3-restaurant dining package just because the 4th restaurant, we really didn't have a desire to eat there on this sailing. And on future sailings, we might want to eat there, but we had so much we needed to maximize on. I didn't want to miss out, by having a set time in another restaurant. So the 3-restaurant package that they have, you get to choose, there's 3 restaurants. The first one is going to be Ocean Cay, which is going to be their seafood restaurant. So if you really love seafood, there's a lot of great options in there. They have a lot of seafood that isn't prepared normally at your just general seafood restaurant down the road from your house. So you can get things like octopus. You've really got a nice scallop plate in there. I had some Mediterranean oysters that were phenomenal, and things like that. So that seafood is, that restaurant is really based around their seafood. And then, like I said, there's Butcher's Cut. Butcher's Cut's going to be their steakhouse, their onboard steakhouse that they have. And I tell you, after we got done eating at Butcher's Cut, I love steak. I am definitely a carnivore, and you could have rolled me down the promenade after I got done there. And then the 3rd restaurant we ate at is their sushi restaurant that is on board, and that was a phenomenal choice too. We had sashimi, just a lot of stuff prepared. Very well presentation, very fresh. Everything they have on board is just so fresh for you, and it just tasted amazing. And for the dining package for Kyle and I to do that, it was, I want to say it was less than $200. for us to get that dining package. I think it was like $199, maybe something like that. I don't know the exact price off the top of my head, but if it's something you're interested in and we book you on board MSC, definitely let us know. And I can get you that price for that. We can go ahead and get that reserved for you. But it was a great deal. We thoroughly enjoyed it. And so we also ate in their main dining room. They actually have three main dining rooms. One dining room is split into two. So you have a port side and a starboard side. And these are towards the stern of the vessel. And then at the very back is their panorama dining room. And the panorama dining room, it looks just like it sounds. It is a panorama view out the back of the ship. So just an amazing view. That dining room was actually closed off to guests during the sailing just because we didn't have that many people on board. They didn't access that dining room. So we did eat in the port and starboard dining rooms, which was a phenomenal meal. First class service in there, very attentive to us, which is something new that we've experienced with MSC, because when we previously sailed MSC, it's a very European dining experience. So it's kind of more of a social gathering, kind of leave you alone, let you dine in peace. But I think they've learned a lot over the last little bit, and they've kind of upped their game. So we definitely had more of that service that we're used to, being a citizen here in the United States, and the service industry that we have. They're kind of stepping up their game to kind of match that. So you do have the waiter or waitress coming to your table a little bit more, checking on you, asking how things are, seeing if you need anything, which is, like I said, a much different experience than we experienced when we sailed MSC Divina over 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago. But back to this amazing view behind me. So the ceiling above me, that is not a glass ceiling. That is actually an LED projection screen. And so there are different things that appear on that. Every day when we walked out into the promenade, there was a different scene on board or above our heads on that LED screen. And then during the evening, they actually show a show on there. So there's a different show that appears every night. And I think they run it 2 or 3 times a night. You can check your on-ship itinerary, definitely for those times in which it's going to show. And it's different things depending on what they have going on the cruise. So they're able to project pretty much whatever they want on board that ceiling. But it's amazing. I would say this promenade here is probably about 500 feet long. So out of the 1,036-foot ship, 500 feet of it, you're going to have this promenade here. And it is actually 3 stories tall. So you have the first and second story, which you can see. And then the third story is actually the LED screen itself. And it was just great. So this area that you see behind me here, this is where all the shops are at. So they have an entire shopping experience. I don't have a picture of it in here, but I do on our social media. There's actually a chocolate area where they have custom chocolatiers that are down there making these amazing sculptures, and we got some amazing pictures of those sculptures. There's Maui, and he stands about 2 foot tall, just complete chocolate. There's also a giant what was it? Oh, a seahorse. There was a seahorse down there and things like that. So that's right off this promenade area. But to talk to you more about this ship, we just had an amazing time on board. The entertainment on board does leave something to be desired when you're comparing it to other lines that are out there. So if you look at Royal puts on phenomenal Broadway class shows. And their Broadway style shows, where MSC is more of music. So it's more of a musical type of show, not so much the Broadway. I know when I say Broadway does have musicals, but it's just the caliber. So it's a little different, but we did thoroughly enjoy it. We went to the first night on board. We went to a rock show, and it was, just a lot of music from Queen and Elton John and things from that era. And they just performed it really well. So there were, plenty of change outs and things like that. Just an amazing cast on board. This ship also does have on board a Cirque Du Soleil show, but it was currently not performing, as Cirque Du Soleil is not back up and operating in all of the markets yet. But they do have the venue on board for Cirque Du Soleil. So that's just an amazing show that if we do, set you up to sail on here and you do like Cirque Du Soleil type of shows, there is a Cirque Du Soleil show on board on select sailings, and we can definitely look into that. So if that is something you're interested in, please let us know when we get ready to book you on board, so that way we can check and see if that show is actually performing on board. So this ship is currently ported out of the port of Miami. That's going to be her home port for a while. And the Divina has actually moved to Canaveral. So Port Canaveral hosts the MSC Divina, a little smaller ship, and down in Port Miami, you have the MSC Meraviglia. Now, also on board this ship up on the upper decks, there's a phenomenal pool area, large projection screen out there in which they were showing movies. There is an ice cream, ice cream right there, complimentary ice cream that you can get. And then they also have a little like a grill, so you can get pizza and burgers sitting out there on the pool deck. And of course, the bars are out there. The waiters come by and offer you the drinks and things like that. But then on the stern of the boat, there's actually it's a kid zone type of area, but it's cool because there's a ropes course back there. There's amazing water slides. We did 2 of the 3 water slides. One water slide was shut down, and we did the ropes course. So if you've been following our social media, you'll see some pictures of us last week on that ropes course. And it was really great. I love ropes courses, and the fact that you're able to put those on board ships and allow you to enjoy that experience, I think is just phenomenal. The staterooms on board this ship, the staterooms are very spacious, in my opinion, compared to most staterooms. So we had a balcony, and there are different setups for the bathrooms. We actually had a step-in tub with a shower built into it, so you have a little more room as opposed to just that single shower that you would get. And then we had the private balcony, with the 2 chairs and the table out there, just an amazing view off the side of the boat. And right now, if you contact us and MSC is something that you want to sail on, let us know, because MSC is running some great incentives right now. One of them is a balcony upgrade. So if you book those rooms that are ocean view or interior, you can get a complimentary upgrade to a balcony suite, or not a suite, but a balcony room, on select sailings and things like that. So it's definitely something we can check into. So there's a lot of incentives that are going on right now for MSC and its line of ships. So let us know if this is a ship that you want to experience. It was phenomenal. We enjoyed it. We will definitely be sailing on it again. There's just so much. I can't really squeeze it into a 10 to 15 minute video, but please follow our social media and you'll be able to see all the amazing pictures from our trip last week aboard MSC Meraviglia. And as always, guys, be sure that you see the world before you leave the world. Take care, and I'll talk to you next week.